You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio Network on KUAP Digital Broadcasting, where the strange is just another day at the office and the unexplained is our playground.
KUAP Digital Broadcasting, Troubled Minds Radio. Do you ever feel like you're being watched? Don't trust the government. Wonder if aliens are real, what's possible and what's not. Will they actually take over the Earth? Do ghosts exist? What about Sasquatch? Curiosity peaked? We've got more. We don't go deep, we go wide, because we're already at skull-crushing depths. Who is the most powerful oligarchy running the world from the shadows? What about these UFO reports? Are they falsified? Are they going to keep giving us nothing burgers over and over and over and over and over and over and over again? We got more. Why is there so much contradictory information about peculiar topics? Is the Illuminati a real thing? What does the New World Order even mean? Come and join the conversation. Let's try and dig. Let's try and find out. Because if we don't do it, it might not get done.
You're tuned into Troubled Minds Radio Network on KUAP Digital Broadcasting, where we peer into the future, embrace the power of AI, and delve deep into the conspiracies that shape our world.
Some people believe that crystals have spiritual properties and can be used to connect with the ancient civilization of Atlantis. They believe the crystals were once used by the Atlanteans for spiritual healing, meditation, and communication. Some people believe that the crystals can still be used for these purposes today. The Atlantis crystal power myth is the belief that crystals from Atlantis have special powers. This myth is often associated with the idea that Atlantis was a highly advanced civilization that was destroyed by a natural disaster. Some people believe that the crystals from Atlantis survived the disaster and can be used to tap into the power of Atlantis. Have you ever tried? Check out Spirit Magica Crystal Shop and use coupon code Troubled Minds, all one word, for 25% off your first purchase.
Well, hello. Welcome to the show, folks. This is Liam Martin and the Exile Minds podcast. Thanks for tuning in on today, Friday the 29th of September 2023, and also available to be heard on all your streaming platforms, well, YouTube and Rumble, as well as Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting, which is a radio station got picked up by Michael Strange. Really great people there, lots of talent. So make sure you check it out, like, share and subscribe if you find any value in any of this, as always. But anyway, so today we've got a show on, long awaited, for me it is, a show on the crystal skulls, because this one I had it written a while back and I meant to do it sort of ages ago really. So I'm getting around to that now. The movie about there was the Crystal Skulls movie, and recently there was Indiana Jones movie, and then recently there was another Indiana Jones movie. Got mixed reviews, but I thought it reminded me again of that Crystal Skulls thing, and I found a whole script I'd done for it and whatnot. So I thought, yeah, let's get this one knocked out while I've got my equipment back going and I'm, practicing again, sort of thing. So yeah, we'll do this Crystal Skulls show. So let's, without any further ado, let's get on with it and get on with this and look at some articles and see what's what. So right, let's get me a little scripty thing up then. Because what we'll do is we'll follow it this time, and then hopefully all the work I put in will be there. So today, yes, the Crystal Skulls, Unearthed Enigmas, the mysteries of the Crystal Skulls is today's show title on the Exile Minds podcast. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the Crystal Skulls and see what we might be able to reveal and find out about it. So join us on an epic journey into the mystique and intrigue surrounding these legendary crystal skulls. From ancient origins to modern controversies, we'll delve into the tales of the supernatural, lost civilizations, and the quest for hidden wisdom. And perhaps fact from fiction will separate those as we explore the secrets behind these mesmerizing artifacts. Mesmerizing, we'll get back to that word. Mesmerizing artifacts that have captivated and the imagination of the world. Captivate is another one. Mesmerize. Yeah, they're relevant because they're kind of magical words. But anyway. So yes, so today, the Crystal Skulls. So this is the deal with the Crystal Skulls. If you've not heard of them, well, obviously we'll get into it and stuff. But the basic skinny on the Crystal Skulls is that it's... Yeah, the basic skin on the Crystal Skulls is that there are a series of it's a legend, a thing of legend, often mysterious artifacts that have captured the imagination of people around the world, as we discussed here. So they're supposedly supernatural and have mystical properties. So these skulls are said to be made of various types of quartz crystal. Okay, and it's often claimed that, like I say, they've got these mysterious properties. So we'll have a look at that because, I don't know, mysterious properties, supernatural, sounds, right up my street. So the Exile Minds podcast, that's what we look at. And these are well known, and that's why I remember now. I was hanging on with this show. I remember why I was holding it back now, because there's a book there was a documentary that was done, and then that's where I first heard of this, and I was a teenager, and I didn't get to watch this documentary. I didn't know what time it was on, and scheduling back in the day, didn't have the internet. You couldn't just go back and look at stuff. So I'd missed this documentary. I was really looking forward to sort of doing and watching, and for years I'd forgot about it. And by chance, I bought somebody a book for the birthday, and for the person and the theme and stuff. I ended up getting him this book, which was an encyclopedia of all different kinds of magical creatures. And it was telling you all the lore about them and stuff, and there was loads and loads. It's a fairy and, magical creature book for someone who likes fairies and that kind of stuff. So while I was there, though, I had a bit of a sort of bit of a, not paranormal, but a weird thing where when I bought this book, I felt an urge, a calling to go over to this other area. And it was this area. I don't normally go to bookstores. I'm slow at reading. I have to read at the speed of speaking, kind of thing. And so I went and bought myself this book, and this book was this Crystal Skulls book. I was just kind of drawn over to the area, and it had an orange spine on it, and it just drew me to it. And I thought, oh my god, is that Crystal Skulls in the documentary, and it was the book that goes with the documentary. And I was like, oh my God, documentary about it. So, and I had it, and it was my first ever thing getting into conspiracies and the paranormal and stuff, because YouTube had not long started. And I had this book, and it was at a time when I had time on my hands, and I had this book, and I was going to read it finally, because I'd had it for a bit. And then I thought, hang on, I wonder if I can watch the documentary. And I got to watch it, then see it on YouTube. And that was my sort of beginnings on this trail. And then the very next YouTube video after that was, I think, Jason Martell, who's been on Ancient Aliens, who did a piece on the Baghdad Battery and a couple of other out-of-place artifacts and the Kafiri mechanism in the Baghdad Battery. And I was like, whoa, Crystal Skulls, Baghdad Battery, then that. And then Phil Schneider came on next, which is a story about deep underground bases and alien mini conflict between aliens and humans. And so I was, you know, it links these things together. So I'll do this Crystal Skulls show because it kind of marks the beginning of me sort of starting all of this stuff. And then we'll do a Phil Schneider show maybe next or next one but one after, because that was like my beginnings, you know. It's like coming sort of full circle for me. So yeah, we'll do this Crystal Skulls show then today, because this is sort of where it started. And I've spotted something with that I think not a lot of people have really noticed or considered. Something really wild we'll get to at the end. So there's a little preface for you there, little spoiler. Right, anyway, enough of that. So yes, Crystal Skulls then. So let's get on with this then. So Crystal Skulls, supernatural properties, made of quartz, various different types. So let's have a look, see what let's go to skeptic.org and see what they've got to say about this. So from the article, this is for Sean Slater from the 31st July 2023. So it's a relatively recent look at this. And it's entitled "The Real Story Behind Those Crystal Skulls Indiana Jones Went Looking For." It's a bit of an awkward title, I would say, but okay. Okay, so Sean Slater, if you don't know, is the vice chair of Edinburgh Skeptics, and is involved in organising several skeptic and fringe runs. Apparently he has given talks in various groups on mobile phones and 5G fears, and has worked in the mobile industry for over 25 years. So this Sean Slater, who wrote this article, that's who that is. So on then with this story, the real story behind the Indiana Jones Crystal Skulls goes something like this, according to Mr. Slater. Have you seen the hugely successful blockbuster stroke bomb, delete if necessary, Indiana Jones movie? Oh, he's having a little joke in there. Okay. In the film, as in all other franchises, there's a MacGuffin to drive from the plot along. In this case, it's the Dial of Destiny, anti-Kafiri mechanism, sometimes referred as Archimedes' dial. And in the previous films, the plot device ranged from the biblical Ark of the Covenant, and the Holy Grail, and then the Hindu Shankara stones, and in the fourth, he's saying by far the worst, it was the Mayan crystal skulls. So he's making the point here is that in the Indiana Jones films, there was, you know, they were looking for, you know, the Ark of the Covenant at one time, and then it was, was that rated as the Lost Ark? And then in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Oh, anyway, yeah. So one of them, they was looking for this Holy Grail, supposed to be the Cup of Christ, supposed to have healing abilities. Ark of the Covenant, obviously a powerful thing in the Bible. So the point is making here, and it's a really important point as well that ties in with the show and all of this stuff, is that these folks, all right, okay, it's supposed to be all conspiracy stuff, yeah, but Indiana Jones is about when the Nazis were looking for artifacts, and he's going and trying to stop them. Okay, and that happens in the Marvel with the Fall film, where it shows you, you know, the Captain America, where it shows you, oh, there's this, you know, Infinity Stone, the Tesseract, and the Nazis found it, trying to make Superman. And the thing about all of that is, although it's in the movies, the point is being made here that actually no, that was really happening, that the German army were tasked to go and kind of look for some of these mysterious stuff. They were, seeing if it was for real and thinking that in some of the philosophies that the Aryans might be from, another planet or whatever, and that's kind of where it kind of got a bit all out of hand and kind of snowballed. But the point is, Indiana Jones movies is about a real kind of thing that was happening in history, that there was a particular country that was looking for these artifacts, and if there are artifacts to be found, they would have found them, and they did go to India and went to Tibet. There's a lot of sort of rumours that come from that, but they did go looking for stuff. And then obviously we know, like in the wartime sort of situation, people want to be able to get an edge, and so making wonder weapons and stuff like that is the kind of thing that you kind of sort of do in wartime, trying to think of ways to do it, because mechanized warfare is still kind of new, and a really, really fancy technology that the British got during the Second World War from America was a proximity fuse. So you could fit them to your artillery for your anti-aircraft, so a near miss will still explode the artillery. If you can send something nearby, it will just explode anyway, even if you don't hit anything. So it was like you're getting more hits, and that's just a kind of simple thing. And radar is all new and stuff. So in the Indiana Jones stuff, you have to think that's set in an era of the German army where they're sort of probably at the turn of the century, really, in the beginning of 1900s, they were searching all over the world for stuff. And then there's been the First World War, been kind of left to waste, and then obviously 1939 Second World War happens, people looking for wonder weapons. Germany's already been looking for stuff, already been working on stuff, and supposedly they were working on all these crazy tech. So it was, but is it crazy is the point I'm making, because these Indiana Jones films are about a real thing that was kind of going on. Okay, I just want to make this point because I think it's really important, because these aren't just crazy stuff. People aren't just plucking stuff out of the air just as, let's go and see if this mystery is real. Let's see if this artifact's real. There has to be some kind of basis for you to believe it, to go for it, and you have to have some kind of historical document to give you an idea where it might be. Because it's all right saying, I'm going to find the Holy Grail, but where are you going to look? Because if you're going to search every square inch of the earth, and then what about digging underground? You know what I'm saying? You get the point. You need some kind of indication where it might be, sort of thing. But anyway, so that's, Indiana Jones stuff, kind of real. So, did they find anything? Was there any useful stuff? So I was making a point of sort of touching on that there. They've got these artifacts. So he's saying here, after listing all the films, he says, I think we can safely ignore the ridiculous movie plot depicting the crystal skull as the head of a literal glass-boned skeletal alien waiting to be reunited with its body. Okay. That's okay. So can we though? Let's look at that statement again. I think we can safely ignore the ridiculous movie plot depicting the crystal skull as the head of a literal glass-boned skeletal alien waiting to be reunited with its body. Okay, so a skeleton of an alien made out of crystal or glass, a glass person. Yeah, that does seem kind of ridiculous, waiting for you. And if someone takes your head off, you've got to just sit there and wait for your head to come back. Do you know what I'm saying? And if the body's still alive, then why can't I go and look for the head somehow? Or feel around a bit, And so it does seem kind of a bit ridiculous, But then that's the kind of thing that C-3PO does. So that's the kind of robot-y thing. Can you have crystal robots then? Androids, and you don't wonder about that. And crystals are programmable. You get crystals would be great computer chips. There could be great hard drives. It could store a lot, but it's how you get there's instability problems, as far as I'm aware. There always used to be problems with that. Maybe they've fixed them these days, but that's so okay. But we'll revisit this a bit later. So in this skeptic article, so we've got there's a couple of images that you can see, links in the description. But so he's saying, ridiculous story plot, but let's have a look. Okay, so he's talking about the story plot, but we'll jump this. So yeah, he's saying that it's ridiculous. Crystal body waiting for its head to come back. That is kind of a bit silly. But let's not completely throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? On that one, for a reason. We'll come back to that, I'll remind you. Okay, so, however, despite all this stuff in the movie phenomenon, strange crystal skulls do exist. Arthur C. Clarke used one to represent the Mysterious World TV show and the subsequent book, and many believe them to have supernatural powers, or at the very least prove Neolithic native Mesoamericans had some incredible and unknown ability to fashion glass, but not metals. Right? Because that's the thing about that. That's always the argument, saying that if they've been made by a hand, it was good with crystals, but they can't work metals. They've got no metallurgy. I don't know. Makes you wonder how they're doing it. Then they're saying they might have to rub them down over decades and decades. So how are they made? Okay, so this is the thing. So that's what the kind of skeptics angle's looking at. But let's look and see where they're referencing Arthur C. Clarke, and they're going to be referencing the most famous one. Okay, which is the Mitchell-Hedges School. Okay, so let's just jump off this because I've got a Mitchell-Hedges special little page coming up. So they're basically saying it's a bit ridiculous, but Arthur C. Clarke uses the image, and there's some argument maybe Mesoamerican people could have made them, even though they didn't really have metallurgy. You thought they'd have probably got that first, and then amazing crystal work. I don't know, but going on with the article, the real Indiana Jones. Let me introduce you to Mr. Frederick Albert Mitchell-Hedges, 1882 to 1959. As it was he was the first brought a crystal skull, the one featured on the cover of Arthur C. Clarke's book, to the attention of the wider public. So it was Frederick Albert Mitchell-Hedges that first brought crystal skulls to the wider public's attention. Like I say, it's featured on the Arthur C. Clarke book, the feature for Mysterious World, and yeah, brought to the sort of public. So Mitchell-Hedges is a seasoned traveller, self-proclaimed adventurer. Mitchell-Hedges had a radio show in the 1930s New York. Oh, I bet that was classic. I have some recordings of that. I bet that sounds amazing. 1930s radio. I bet it sounded amazing. Christmas cards were amazing. I couldn't believe it. Oh, I bet it sounded brilliant. They could really talk back then as well. Anyway. We regaled his audience with tales of escaping from native savages or wild jungle animals in dramatic fashion. When searching for lost civilizations, he's trying to escape panthers and jaguars getting him, and savages trying to whatever, eat him, whatnot, put him in a cooking pot. So, in a proto Indiana Jones kind of way, right? It's like a pre-Indiana Jones guy. So in 1954, he published the modestly titled Danger, My Ally, detailing his true life adventures exploring lost cities and lost worlds. In the chapter The Skull of Doom and a Bomb, he reveals that his daughter Anna was in possession of a crystal skull she had found 30 years before in the jungles of Belize, where she had accompanied her father exploring the Mayan ruins in Lubarton. Mitchell-Hedges Sr. concluded that the skull was over 3,600 years old, and that it was used by a Mayan priest to strike people dead by the force of his will. So using it to channel his willpower, strike people down. It has been described as the embodiment of all evil. I do not wish to try and explain this phenomena. Several other skulls have been identified around the world. There is one in the British Museum, which is described as a skull purchased from Tiffany's of New York in the late 1890s. The skull has been passed through many hands, and it is said that G.F. Kunz in 1890 to have originally brought it from Mexico by a Spanish officer sometime before the French occupation in Mexico in 1860. So they're saying it's from 1860s, potentially that one. Another was sent to the Smithsonian, which is no doubt at the bottom of the sea now, because they've been caught doing that. But anyway, that's a black hole for stuff disappearing in the Smithsonian Institute. I'm sad to say, but it is true. So if you don't want me saying it, don't do it. Or just get better staff that can catalogue stuff better. Ask me, I'm dead good at that stuff. Anyway, Another was sent to the Smithsonian at Washington, D.C. anonymously in 1992, accompanying letter saying it was part of 19th century Mexican general's collection of ancient Mayan artifacts. A third is in the Musée de l'Orient in Paris. A further 9 are in private hands. Okay, so this is the deal with this stuff. We've got these, got a few crystal skulls. Bit of mystery about them. Some saying, don't know how they made them. Are they really ancient or not? Popping up around the mid, 1800s, around 1960s, 70s, 80s, so and skull work, crystal working. We're getting a bit industrial revolution stuff then. Crystal working can be done then, to the extent where you could make a skull. So I think that's why there's a controversy surrounding whether or not these things are actually going to be, entirely sort of real. Like it could be a case of the skeptic argument is someone's made these in the 1800s, made out of ancient, which kind of pushes the price up. Then you get a lot of mystery about it, pushes the price up even more. Make up a bit of a story about this stuff. However, the stories are kind of consistent and detailed. So, got to wonder if it's actually just some of it's true, and maybe some people did that to make some money. But but we'll go for a little break anyway. I'm going to cut into a little break now, and then I suppose we'll come back after this break and the Examines podcast. Me, incredibly famous host Liam Martin. We'll have a break in just a sec. We'll come back. Just have just a 4-minute break, whatever, and then just practicing for the station. Troubled Minds Radio, KUAP, digital broadcasting. So a little break on the Examines podcast, and we'll come back and we'll go away from the skeptic view and we'll see what's going on with some of these. We'll see what the people say that have owned these things. Get it from the horse's mouth, eh? Anyway, back in just a moment. Examines podcast, me, Liam Martin, talk about crystal skulls.
You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio Network on KUAP Digital Broadcasting, where the strange is just another day at the office and the unexplained is our playground.
It's time to talk about a very serious matter. Are you prepared for an alien invasion? It may seem like something out of a sci-fi movie, but the threat may be very real. And that's why the Galactic Alliance is here to help. With our state-of-the-art technology and top-of-the-line defense systems, we're ready to take on any extraterrestrial threat that comes our way. But we can't do it alone. We need your help, citizens of the galaxy. So if you see something suspicious, say something. Report any strange activity to your local Galactic Alliance outpost immediately. And if you want to be extra prepared, sign up for our Alien Defense Training Program. Learn how to use a laser blaster, navigate through space, and communicate with alien species. Who knows? You might even make some new alien friends along the way. So remember, stay vigilant, stay prepared, and together we can keep our galaxy safe. A public service announcement from the Galactic Alliance.
I'll be right there. Don't move. Imagine a world where information can be trusted. Not very hard, is it? News service says one thing, website says another. Society starts to fray. All we can turn to are the people we care about. But what if those people weren't who we thought they were? What if the ones closest to us, the ones we've trusted our whole lives, were someone else entirely? What if they weren't even human? Respectfully, what
talking about?
Chaos. And that's only the beginning. 5 global terrorist strikes within the past year, each one claimed by a different group.
It's business as usual.
That's precisely what they want you to think. Argentina attacks Colombia. Colombia attacks the Philippines. A violent chain reaction consuming the globe. Do you realize that the entire world is at war?
The atmosphere has been tense.
There is an architect to that tension. These attacks are escalating. If they hit the soil of a major power,
So do you think the same people are behind all of this?
not people. Scrolls. Oh, come on, Ross, you know the stories. This didn't start yesterday. It started 30 years ago when the Scrolls found Earth. Carol Danvers and Nick Fury promised to find them a new planet. Now they don't want just any planet. They want ours.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Exile Minds podcast with me, your host, Liam Martin. Today we're talking about the crystal skulls, unearthing the enigmas, the mysteries of the crystal skulls. We've had a quick look into what the skeptics angle is and the importance of them. That I think it's very, very important that we've got a real Indiana Jones is the kind of real thing that was going on. People looking for stuff, and we're always spying on each other's countries, aren't we, and stuff. So someone was probably following Germany's activities between the 1900s and the 1940s, because they were searching for artifacts for real. So I'm sure someone's going to want to know about that, intelligence. So that's what we have. So we've had a look, see what the skeptics say. So we'll move along, and we'll see what else we can find out about these crystal skulls, because we've heard what when they're going to kind of poo-poo it a bit, say, oh, it's a bit ridiculous, a few mysteries surrounding this. In fact, let's just finish this article off. Yeah, so there's a few schools around the world. So Smithsonian have got one, which probably went away. It says that, as I was mentioning before the break, there are modern reproductions. And we could do it back in the sort of in that era when they were kind of turning up as well. So there are modern reproductions. However, it is generally accepted that there are 12 surviving Mayan schools, and innumerable legends have grown up, usually about 13 such schools being gathered together in a Mayan temple to complete some sort of task, often to save humanity or affect the Mayans' enemies or something similar. I've heard that story too, and it's got to bring them all together, and it's the time when humanity's ready to, kind of rise up, raise the consciousness, and then you bring them all together at one place, because they'll get found, and then once they're all found, people will all just naturally gather and bring them together, and then that'll be really cool, and then it'll unlock, I heard this story that it's like they're a bit of a key. You got to put them all together, and then it basically unlocks it like a hard drive, and it will play back all of humanity's history, kind of thing. But the fact that they can potentially, quartz crystals can potentially store an immense amount of data, and that's why I get excited about that. But if you happen to know that, then you can make that story up so it sounds believable. Anyway, so that's where the skeptic view is. Let's see what history's got to say. National Geographic. They're well respected. So on the video, there's a nice image here of the famed crystal skull from ancient Mesoamerica, source of many mystery and controversy for decades. A handful of known skulls have been defined have defied even the most, a handful of them. This is the thing. There is some anomalies about these things, and that's why this story don't go away. A handful of known schools have defied even the most advanced scientific efforts to determine who made them, when, and most puzzling, how. How did they make them? That's the most puzzling part. On the video, the picture there, it says, this specimen, owned by the British Museum in London, was originally thought to have been made by the Aztec of Mexico, but was later determined to be fake. Alright, okay. So it says one in the British Museum. That's on a National Geographic. So we'll carry on here. So I'll read the whole article, which is by Richard Lovett and Scott Hoffman. Crystal skulls are not uncommon or terribly mysterious. Thousands are produced every year in Brazil, China, and Germany. But there are a handful of these rather macabre objects that have fueled intense interest and controversy among archaeologists, scientists, spiritualists, and museum officials for many a century. There are perhaps a dozen of these rare skulls in private and public collections. Some are clear crystal, others are smoky or coloured quartz. Some are actual human size and of very fine detail, while others are smaller and less refined. All are believed to originate from Mexico and Central America. Many believe these skulls were carved thousands or even tens of thousands of years ago by the ancient Mesoamerican civilization. Others think they may be relics from a legendary island of Atlantis, or proof that extraterrestrials have visited the Aztecs sometime before the Spanish conquest, which could perhaps in some way explain why they expected white people, Caucasian-looking people with blonde hair and blue eyes. They thought they were the gods in those days and those stories. That's a bit of a mysterious thing as well, that they thought they expected that. They knew of some of the stuff that they didn't claim to make in those regions. I'm not sure if it's Aztec or it's Olmec or Toltec, or I'm not sure exactly which one, but I know in general there's some things that's been built there that are thought to they're not claiming them. And this happens. You find this if you look into these ancient civilization stuff, you do find that there are a number of times there'll be things where the natives are claiming the gods built them, they've just been there since forever, we've just been using them. So that does kind of come up. So anyway, moving on with the article. So yeah, so are they proof? Did aliens come before the Spanish? I think it did, probably a really long time ago. But there's the supernatural fascination, and mesmerize. Because some of these schools mentioned that word earlier. Fascinate is a magical word, like fascinatus, to perform, do a spell on someone, basically, to fascinate you. And same as mesmerize, it's like sort of hypnotize. And because one of these schools supposedly means you stare into their eyes, it's supposed to kind of do something, or you connect with it in that way. And that indeed is the way that they're connected with a crystal skull in one of the Stargate HD1 episodes, which intriguingly didn't send the person somewhere like they expected. It shifted them. It kind of phase shifted them so people couldn't see them and like touch them and stuff. It was kind of a weird thing, because that can happen like with the USS Eldridge, covered with the Montauk project, and that USS Eldridge disappearing, doing some weird physics stuff where you can change your relationship to this dimension and go out of phase of it, but science stuff. But anyway, supernatural fascination, crystal skulls. Let's get back to it. So stories about the crystal skulls are focused heavily on their perceived supernatural powers. Joshua Shapiro, co-author of Mysteries of the Crystal Skulls Revealed, cites claims of healing and expanded psychic abilities from people who have been in the presence of such skulls. Quote, "We believe the crystal skulls are a form of computer which are able to record energy and vibration that occur around them," he writes. "The skull will pictorially replay all events or images of people who have come into contact with them, i.e. they contain the history of the world. And then, okay, most archaeologists and scientists are skeptical, to say the least. But this is an interesting thing, because this was the kind of thinking that I got on it. Heard this, and although it's, you can kind of make this story up, you can back engineer it, at the same time it does kind of fit in terms of storing stuff in there. And I've seen images, I don't know, this is from when it was first kind of writing it, from about the 90s. There was a book, one I'm referring to with the documentary, that was in the 90s, and there was a book written then that had photographs of, I think it might have been the Mitchell Hedges School, where there was stuff inside of it. It was showing like a playback of a UFO flying, and it took a picture of the skull, and it shows you a UFO image inside the skull, like a video playback. Now, I don't know if fake that or whatever, but if that's not a fake image, then yeah, people have then seen, you know, seen things being played back on there, like a kind of video. So it is a little bit strange for that to happen. So I don't know how that kind of works. Oh, we've got two people in the chat. Oh wow, somebody found, I didn't even tell anyone. Don't advertise it, but hello, Calgary, Alberta. I got a buddy in British Columbia, Alex. So thanks, Erika, for tuning in. Good to see you. Spooky crystal skulls. Yeah. Well, you know, I got a skull actually. It's it's not around here. No, it's a dead skull. It's a money box. It's not crystal, but I call it Max, because I want to try and max out my money box. And one of these crystal skulls is called Max, actually. That's where that comes from. But yeah. So, Enrico, I would be nervous keeping a crystal skull. They are supposed to be cursed. Ah, well, there is one called the Cursed Skull, actually, in the crystal skull. In these crystal skulls, got names in that. And one of them, Max, that I just mentioned, just so happens, was left in somebody's wardrobe. Left him in the cupboard. And he said it was like waking him up, like kind of calling to him. And it didn't like being in the cupboard, basically. You know, I had to get it out. So I wish I could have had that. I couldn't find the book. I wish I could have had it. I was going to do a like, sort of live book one, like, but yeah. But if there is absorbing energy, though, I suppose you get what you give. What are you giving out? So if you give out lots of happy vibe all the time, maybe it'll bounce it back with loads of happy vibe all the time. Maybe you get like keep locking out every day. You know, keep getting like winning competitions and stuff. Maybe you should do it. Maybe you should get yourself a crystal skull and decide before you buy it it's going to be for locking out, for getting luck all the time, and then keep giving it happy vibes and just like give it a kiss or something every week. Do you know what I'm saying? And then you might like win something. Keep entering competitions. Set something up. Set something up for Rico. But anyway, yeah. What was it? Yeah, nervous keeping one around. The pyramids are supposed to be giant crystals, some kind of technology. Maybe the USS Eldred had crystal skulls on board. Oh, there's an idea. Or something that had learnt from that stuff. You know, which I think is where this actually. I think that is kind of, in a way, that is probably sort of along the lines, not necessarily if one was on board, but what you're learning from crystals, what you're learning from radio and frequencies then, and, you know, doing radar now. And if indeed some of these things are for real and they've got real phenomenon, you know, and especially if they're playing back video and images, then people are going to study that stuff, or at least, you know, try and figure out some phenomenon with crystals. And of course, quartz is piezoelectric. You squeeze it, you give off a charge. That's how your frequency works, and you know, you transistor radio thing. So, excuse me, just cough a sec. So maybe, yeah, that is interesting. There's some food for thought. That's why we do this. See what the sidetracks do. Well, let's have a look then. Okay, well, let's have a look to see what they're saying on these funky ones then. So are they all fakes? Continuing from National Geographic article then. So have I missed anything good? Let me just quick check. Most archaeologists skeptical, to say the least. Skulls are prominent in ancient Mesoamerican artwork, particularly among the Aztecs. So the connection between artifacts like these and is apt. Yeah, if you're going to try and fake it, you're going to make something that they do make. But are they all fakes? In addition, recent electron microscope analysis of skulls in the British Museum and the Smithsonian Institute revealed markings that could only have been made with modern carving implements. Both museums estimate that their skulls date to sometime in the mid-1800s, a time where public interest in ancient skulls was high and museums were eager for pieces. Okay, so around the time they were able to do it, the British Museum study, in fact, pinpointed the manufacturer of the most skulls in the area of Germany, famous for manufacturing intricate quartz crystal designs in the late 19th century. The late 19th century is the 1800s, you know, because it will be the 19th one. You're already in it, aren't you? So yeah, that's the time period. The crystal is said to be found in Brazil, Madagascar, and thus inaccessible to pre-Columbian indigenous civilizations. That's good. Have a quick little drink. Just a second. Excuse me, a bit dehydrated, must be. Okay, so all right then, let's jump off this because there's the mainstream skeptical view. Let's jump onto this. Let's see what historicmysteries.com has got to say. We've got a nice picture for the video as well. We've got Mitchell Hedges there. We've got Anne Mitchell Hedges herself with her skull, and the story goes with her that well, let's just read this this article. We'll jump through it. You get a little showcase on these skulls. Okay, so from historicmysteries.com. Crystal skulls are a number of supposed artifacts, not all that, pre-Columbian, don't know. Okay, there's a Paris skull. Let's talk about the Paris skull because it looks a bit creepy. You've got really starry eyes. Okay, so the Paris skull is a skull that was owned by an antique dealer, Eugene Bobin. It was eventually sold by Bobin and now resides in the Musée de Quai Branly in Paris. It's 4 inches in height. Unlike other skulls on the list, it's a hole drilled vertically through the centre of it. Because of this, it is often assumed that it was once displayed on some sort of staff. Experts have concluded that'd be pretty cool on a staff, wouldn't it? A skull on it, especially if it lights up and you've got the glowy floaty wizard staff. Anyway, experts have concluded, based on the tool markings on the skull, it was created in the 1800s with modern tools. The museum asserts it's not pre-Columbian origins. Who made it and why is still a mystery. But once the first few skulls made the rounds, it became obvious that they were money makers. So, yeah, there's always that. There's always that kind of side of things. So, I didn't put the image on. Get that on there. Okay, so right, let's jump onto this website here then. So we've had a quick overview. See what the mainstream view is, see what people are saying about it, but I recommend this site just to have a good look at some crystal skulls. There's a website called crystalskulls.com, and they sell them. They do sell them. They've got loads of them. There's tons and tons and tons and tons of them. But it's got a good write-up of all the sort of information on crystal skulls, all the different sort of legends, and all kind of in one place. So if you want to look this stuff up yourself, then yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool website because it's got loads and loads of them. I don't know they're making them, but it's just nice to see. If you get into the legend, it's nice to see a picture of like 13 crystal skulls together, sort of thing. So I'll just read a quick little bit off this, just to since we're on there. So 13 crystal skulls, legend and prophecy. There are very few legends that cross over cultures and time in the ways the crystal skull legends do. They were contemporarily shared by the Mayans, the Aztecs, and Native Americans, and other indigenous people around the world. And in philosophical terms, they are recorded in Atlantean and Lemurian times. Okay, it's people that believe in that stuff are saying the crystal skulls around then. Okay, these legends have been handed down from generation to generation for thousands of years, which attests to their enduring power. The legend of the Great Flood, in quote, which is passed down from the ancient times, is one of the few enduring legends that is also shared across most cultures in the world. Now, which scientists now confirm was real. Yes, there's been and more than one. One end of the Ice Age, Meltwater Pulse 1b, that Graham Hancock talks about, and one about roughly 3,000 years ago, which Yale wrote about, and it caused exceptional preservation of soft body tissue. So really fast fossilization. So there's that. So yeah, there's a Great Flood. So that's real. Okay, a Great Flood was real. So it's making the point, well, maybe this thing was real. Okay. So this is where the rubber meets the road for some weirdness here. So check this out then, right? Okay. So consider this. Consider this. So if the crystal skulls could be real, and there's this idea that they could have been made, had they been made with super advanced tools, or what, or do you make them over a really long period of time? You know, you got to rub them down and make them by hand. And if you did that, and say it took you decades or centuries, there'd be a lot of thought gone into that, wouldn't there? You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's a way of charging them. Maybe you have to think. So maybe if you did make one over centuries, maybe you could have the same mantra going over and over again to decide what the skull's going to do. Maybe like technology is like that. And maybe you don't need, maybe because they're already crystals and it's working on frequencies. And our bodies, it turns out, according to MIT studies, give off frequencies, different emotions. So then it gets you thinking, can you connect with them like that? Maybe you don't. Maybe you can just stick them on a staff and use your force of will. Or maybe it's coded to you. Maybe there's a password or a mantra you give to it, and that if you think that mantra was, you know, hold this certain feeling, and that's how you connect with it. But it gets me wondering about that. But then it gets me wondering about that original thing of the Indiana Jones saying, "Oh, it's a bit, it is, you know, isn't it a bit silly that there's in the Indiana Jones thing, there's a crystal skeleton waiting for its head to come back on its body." But that is a bit silly. But if there's a flood really happened and nuclear bombs have really happened in the ancient past, there's evidence for that, the glass, in Pakistan especially, people can get vitrified and turn to glass, right? And if there've been global floods, which is known there's been, you know, more than one, and it can fossilize things quickly with silica-rich oceans, nucleophilic invasion, the one that Yale wrote about, then you fossilize fast. So fast explosions eviscerate you quickly. Fast flash flooding with the certain right chemical conditions can fossilize you quick. So could it be that some of these things, maybe at least a couple of them, maybe are actual crystallized heads? You know, from this flood, because if it's flooded and boiling oceans and, you know, you melt the flesh off, you know what I'm saying? That's going to go away, or that's going to, you know, that's going to be softer, isn't it? Your skull's going to be harder. Maybe your skull can get turned to glass, maybe you get eviscerated, and that's supposed to have happened in Dead Man's Secrets. Jonathan Gray, I'd love to get him on. It's claimed that, you know, that has happened in Pakistan, where someone's been looking around, you know, exploring the ruins, and they fell through a building, fell through a room, and they seen a guy sat in a chair made of glass statue. But when they got closer, they realised it had organs inside, and it's like, oh my god, it was a guy, it was a person at one time. Okay, wild as it sounds, but check this. So we've got that nice website, crystalskulls.com, but check this out. Oh, we've got R.C. Clarke's page for the foundation because it was on his thing there. But okay. So I was going to do have they got healing properties, but we'll just jump into this quick. You can get, Dan Aykroyd's got crystal head skulls that runs his vodka through crystals to filter it. It's supposed to make it taste a little bit softer on a Pepsi Challenge taste test thing. But check this out. So on screen for the video, check this. So Daily Mail, you can get this from anywhere, but this is a picture. It says, a beautiful mind, kaleidoscopic images reveal the complex and colourful inner workings of the human brain. It's a type of MRI technique, right, called DTI. Is it MRI, DTI? Yeah. It's so there's images. You look these up for those that are able to sort of look at images on the internet and look at these MRI images, colourful. In the image, it says colourful images show the activity of the brain in a kaleidoscope of colours. Will go on show for the first time at St Andrew Square, Edinburgh. This wiring, the brain image, shows a detailed map of the brain wiring in a sleeping newborn baby on the left and an adult in their 70s on the right, using visualized MRI scanners. Okay, so they're visualizing it in 3D to show you the intricate workings. And the thing about it is that these really colourful scans, okay, this scanning technique, is it DTI? They're showing striation marks and patterns that are the same as in the crystal skulls, in the Mitchell Hedges one especially. And some of these skulls, if you look at them closely, they've got these markings, they've got these lines on the inside. Now you could say it's the way the crystals form, this, that and the other. However, this one is one of them. You look them up, it's got a flat nose. Okay, why would you carve a flat nose, a broken nose, when everything else is carved nice? Why would you carve a broken nose or a mangled lip? Okay, that looks to me, if that was real, that's a person face down in a mud flood, and those striation patterns are part of the brain, and the brain's fell forward because it's face down in the mud. You can see, the structure within it. You kind of have to look at images to see it. So, links in the description. Check this out. Mitchell Hedges Skull side view. Put that in a browser, because why would you bother carving a busted up nose? Is my question. And all those lines, because all those lines were the same as their MRI scans. Is it the brain? It looks like it shifted forward. You kind of really do need to look at it yourself to check that one. But anyway, that is where we are. I need to go on a break. And I was going to end the show there, really, actually. That should have been. It should be the end of the show, really. I think, wrap this up, but it's just food for thought there. Have a look into it, because that one really does look like it's if you imagine it, face down, brains fell forward a bit, got fossilized or eviscerated by some nuclear blast. I don't know. I don't really know, but see what you think. Write your comments in the description. Let me know what you think about that sort of theory, and then maybe we'll get into that and perhaps have a chat about it. But anyway, in the meantime, I'll just play some funky music. What we got? Oh, put one of these little 4-minute ad tracks that I made for the end of it. All right then, okay. Right, well, that's enough from me. Exo Minds Podcast, your host, famous Liam Martin. And signing out. That's the Crystal Skulls episode then. We shall be back tomorrow with another episode. Not sure what we're doing yet. This is a bit of a random one because kind of found it, forgot about it. But Unearthed, Enigmas, Mystery of the Crystal Skulls. Check out that Mitchell Hedges one. Definitely worth a look. Anyway, you take it easy, folks. I shall catch you soon, and look after yourself. Stay happy. See you tomorrow. Remember, tune in, KUAP, Troubled Minds Radio Network, digital broadcasting. Take it easy. Good night.
Cobbler, school teacher, postman, and publican, fast and slow asleep. The undertaker and the fancy woman, drunkard, dressmaker, preacher, policeman, the wet-foot cocker women, and the tidy wives. Young girls lie bedded soft or glide in their dream with rings and trousseaux, bridesmaided by glowworms down the aisles of the organ-playing wood. The boys are dreaming wicked, or of the bucking ranches of the night and the jolly Rogered sea. and the anthracite statues of the horses sleep in the fields, and the cows in the byres, and the dogs in the wet-nosed yards, and the cats nap in the slant corners, or lope, sly, streaking and needling on the one cloud of the roofs. You can hear the dew falling and the hushed town breathing. Only your eyes are unclosed to see the black and folded town fast and slow asleep.
Do you crave open, uncensored discussion about the unexplained? Look no further than the Troubled Minds Radio Network, ultimate destination for those who seek the truth and aren't afraid to speak their minds. At the Troubled Minds Radio Network, we don't just talk about UFOs, the paranormal and the ever-changing, shifting news cycle. We dissect and debate them and encourage you to join the conversation. Join us as we gather to discuss the mysteries of the world, share your own encounters, and engage in thought-provoking conversation that leaves no stone unturned. Because the Troubled Minds Radio Network, your voice matters and all your ideas are welcome. Tune in, speak out, and explore the unknown with us. Don't miss out on the most candid, uncensored discussions about the unexplained on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP, Digital Broadcasting.
If you're into philosophical constructs, cosmic musings, and the probability of magic in our mysterious world, welcome to Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP, Digital Broadcasting.
This is James Salcedo, host of Salcedo Paranormal, and you're listening to the Troubled Minds Radio Network on KUAP Digital Broadcasting.
Hi, I'm Liam Martin of the Exile Minds podcast. You're listening to the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP, Digital Broadcasting, the place where we dive into the depths of the unknown. On the Troubled Minds Radio Network, you can join us and embark on a thrilling journey through worlds of science, the paranormal, and the enigmas that defy explanation. Tune in, share, let everybody know that you're listening to Troubled Minds, the place that captivates and takes you to the uncharted territories of knowledge.